Before I start this video, I want to make one thing clear. This is not defamation in any way. This is a message to a friend that I went to school with, mother, who has really proved herself to be the biggest nightmare I've ever seen in my life. And no names are going to be mentioned, so I'm not going to mention any names, but if you know who you are, I got you, buddy. I got you covered. I mean, this is just this video needs to be made, and I'm gonna go ahead and make it now. First things first, and I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at you specifically, your mother. I'm gonna talk directly to her. You are basically being a dictator to your kid. I know you want to parent your kid. I understand that, but you're not parenting your kid. You know what you're doing? You're basically being the biggest dictator I've ever seen. In the way your son was at school this last semester, beginning of last semester, proved that you are the biggest scum of the earth I've ever seen. And I know I'm going to get flack in the comments that the people that didn't watch the video that know this person and have seen this person do this, even though this person knows that they did it, but they try to admit that they didn't do it. You did these things, and I'm not gonna mention your name, but I'm gonna tell people about you because you need to be exposed because you're doing things that are harmful. And I mean, your daughter, your other son, I mean, they have to listen to it. I mean, just think when your daughter gets 18, are you going to do the same thing to her? You better not, because if you do, if I invited her to my graduation party, which I graduated with anyways, but you need to quit acting like you're above him, and that's what you're doing. You weren't, because we didn't have to ask him. We knew that the way you treat your son, that's kind of why you were messing him up. You weren't trying to fix him. You are responsible for your kid. You weren't being responsible at all. And I mean, that proves it. And I mean, I don't want to have to sit here and just go on and on and on, which I'm not going to do that because it's after midnight. It's November 15th now, so right after midnight. No, well, now it's after 1 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, it's just, you really need to just act like that. Let me know in the comments if I because this needs to be addressed because I have been quiet about this for a long time. This was earlier this year. This is back when I was still in second half of my senior year, which is about a year ago. And I'm going to make this video now, which is still happened in the first one, but I wasn't aware of it until really starting to be aware of it in the second semester. Oh boy. And I'm going to look at you specifically. If you come to my graduation party all whiny and complaining because I want your son to be and now he's in a residence of Frankfurt as of the last time I heard because of you. You should have been there for him. My grandfather was always there for me. He's the one that passed away on Easter. You should have been like what he was. And that proves that, mark my word, I'm looking at you right now. If you even dare to start bad-mouthing me and my grandfather or anybody else on the GWC Permanent of the Lux planet, you will face some consequences because you are an awful human being that needs to be exposed, and you're being exposed right now without your name being mentioned. And for a mother, what a petulant human being that you are. You need to be a responsible parent like my grandfather was. He was a Marine. He died with ALS. Well, I mean, he really died because he had a blockage in his abdomen. But if you even dare to keep on doing this to your kid, you will go to jail for child for child neglect. I mark my word that if you even dare to keep on and you say, don't judge my parenting style, I'm not judging you. I'm pointing you out because you are harming your kid. And I can prove it. If I have to go on your social media and find you and see what you're doing, if you're posting negative things about your kid, I will make a video about it because you are being just as naughty as what yourself is. Because you are a selfish, horrible human being. And I think you need to be exposed, which you are being right now, because I don't know how clear I can make this. Do not treat your kids like this. Be a parent like you should. Be like my grandfather was. He was a good person. Even though there has moments, but hey, he would not act like you. I mean, who in the hell elected you to be a mother? Because I'm pretty sure that if you keep this up, your kids, when they get older, they're going to be putting out all kinds of negative stuff about you because you're doing the same thing that people that do bad things are deflecting from. And that's what you're doing because you are a petulant human being, which I know that your son, he just wants to be himself. And you're preventing that from happening. You made his teachers, which were my teachers as well, you are making them ruin his school year. And it wasn't their fault, it was your own fault. Because you are the most petulant human being I have ever seen and the most petulant parent I have ever seen. And your old husband, he probably thinks you're a sociopath. Because you are the most petulant human being, I've said it before, I've ever seen. Because if you continue to keep this up, you're not. Because I'm not going to let you get away with it. Because your son just wants to be himself. And if you were just trying to just destroy him in that home and not letting him talk to his stinking sister and other brother, he didn't go. You're doing the same thing that my ninth grade teacher probably did to me. And she was the biggest nuthead I've ever seen in my life. And that's what you're being because I think that if you think you can get away with it, oh yeah, you're not. Because you're not doing anybody any good. The only person you're doing good is yourself. And I'm going to mark my word, if you come, I'm going to ask your sister, no, not your sister, your daughter, that if she comes to my graduation party, if you even think that you can get away with it, you're not. You are not going to get away with it because I am not going to let that happen. The GDX Corner Lost team is not going to let that happen. Nobody is because if my guys have to roll you out when you come, if I invite your son and we have to throw you out and you try to get back in our house, we're calling the cops because this stuff cannot happen. You cannot be like this to your son, your daughter when she turns 18 in 2022, and other people because it was affecting me, my life back at that time because of you seeing this, having to witness this every single day. You know how many and you're doing this stupid military-like discipline to your son. If you keep on doing that, that's wrong. I know you think it's good for him. It's not because you're just making yourself look like an authoritarian. And I know, but you're probably saying, well, don't judge my parenting style. Well, your parenting style is wrong. You're being a baby. And if I have to keep on saying this, you're going to face the consequences one way or another because I cannot have this. It bothers me every single. I have to remember the way you treated your son. Your daughter didn't. I never seen it out of her because I didn't have any classes with her. But I had classes with your son. You weren't like this to him in 11th grade, but in 12th grade, okay, I'm going to be a jerk to him. That's what you were doing. And you were the one that gave him his ring at the ring ceremony. And then you just screw it all up in the end. You gave him his ring, okay. That's one red flag. And then you basically do the opposite. You were trying to fight from that and then just screw it all up. and just treating him badly. You are a petulant human being. I don't even know what to say because you're doing the same thing that other people do when they do bad things. You're trying to just blame other people for it, which no, you were the one that did it. I could probably ask my guys that went to school during when your son went there, because your son was supposed to graduate with me, but why wasn't he in his meetings? And we finally found out what you did because you weren't being responsible. He went to he would much rather be with his. I mean, your daughter had to live with this, and there's a bigger chance she could have been telling me about this. And if I did this, oh, you would be screwed. You would be so screwed because I could report that to the authorities and get you're behind me whiny let me spell it out for you. Jail. What does that spell? Yeah, jail. Yeah. You're not a kindergartner. You're like over 50 years old or around 50. Well, you don't act like 50. You act like you act like an adult child because that's what you are. The way you treat your son. And I mean, if you start treating your other kid because of this video, oh, that will not fly because I'm going to ask you. I mean, I hope you don't need to come because have your husband bring him because I don't want you even near because I don't want to have to put up with this because I don't want you having to be downstairs listening to your son at all times. You don't need that. He doesn't need that because I will. If you start pulling that crap, I will be kicking your ass out of here. You'll be outside. It doesn't matter if it's. We might be having it during the wintertime, but I'll make sure it's a day that has that's like 20 degrees out, and just toss you outside, and then call the cops for you trespassing, and have their dad pick them up because you cannot be doing this. You cannot do this to your kids. And my UJC Common Law community, hopefully we can get some fighters for your son in the comments because he needs some. Well, just people in the comments that are subscribing, give this guy this guy that is suffering through this, give him some support because he needs it. And let me tell you something, you know who I'm talking about. The person I was just talking about that is doing all this crap. It's just, if you think you can get away with this, then you're wrong. And I'm going to finish up by saying this. If anybody who has watched my channel for a while, or who knows me from my high school years, can give me some updates on this, that would be helpful because I just need some answers. Just like, what the heck happened? It was like, what happened to your son in 11th grade, and then what happened to him in 12th grade? Big switch. And it all happened. I don't know what happened. It was like something where it was like very, very pleasant. So over and over again. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. When I go back and visit, I'm gonna ask what that means. But I might email one of my old teachers about it because back on the first day of school, I'm not gonna name names, but I'm not gonna do that because yeah. So thank you all for watching. I know this was a very unexpected video. I just wanted to make it because this needs to be addressed. I have talked about some other questionable people that have done some pretty questionable things, and I got more. And this is not really horror stories. This is just a PSA for bad parents out there. The first thing you should be doing, don't do this because I have already exposed you, but I'm not going to mention your name, but I exposed the stuff that you've done, not your name. So you don't even know that you did it. Well, you might know that you did it because you don't have to admit guilt because if you admit guilt, that's not going to go so well for you in the court of law because like I say, what you say can be used against you in the court of law. Yeah. So, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. This is DJ Sacoma Deluxe signing out. Hopefully see you in the next stream. Please help this kid. please.